Yes, first of all, I just want to say thank you, a big thank you to Chris for agreeing to be my first guest on this podcast. That makes you extra special as well. And that's why I chose you. So thank you. And I'm sure that everyone that's here is enjoying watching you boxing and everything that you've added to the sport. So looking forward to having this chat today. So before we do actually get into the nitty gritty of things, we're going to start off with a little game. See how good you are at games. Didn't tell you about this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you the names of 5 boxers, and you have to describe those boxers, but only using one word for each boxer. Okay. Okay, so the first one is Terence Crawford.
Yeah.
Oh,
special
that was quick.
Different kind of
I thought you were going to have to think about it. No, I agree. Okay. Second one is Fabio Wardley.
For me, improved.
I like that. Nice. Okay. Third one, Jaron Ennis.
Talent.
Nice. Okay. Fourth one, Josh Taylor.
Undisputed.
Okay. And last but not least, Florian Marku.
I knew that one was coming. I had a feeling.
You needed a sip for that
Florian,
one.
How can I describe him? One word. That's a good one. I'm thinking. There's a few words, but I need the one specific one.
You have to try and choose one. I'll give you time. It's okay. Take your time.
Interesting. I don't know. I would say aggressive. He's an aggressive fighter.
Okay.
So we'll go with that one.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Awesome. Well, 5 out of 5. You managed to do it. So well done. I know I found it in the works there, so you did well. Okay. So now let's get to know the boxer behind the gloves. Before we actually go into boxing, just want to get to know a bit about you. So, first of all, you are of African descent. And, I wanted to just find out a little bit about your background and what it means to you to be an ambassador, I suppose, of Africa and of your country. Do you feel any responsibility to be an ambassador for your country and for Africa as a whole?
Because I'm obviously getting to that age. You got the youngsters coming up at the moment, and they're obviously looking up to guys like us, guys on the platforms, and they want to get there themselves. So we got to pave the way for them, same way as all the older lot paved the way for us. So yeah, no doubt.
Very lovely. Okay, and who would you say is your biggest inspiration then? Who do you look up to? Not necessarily in the sport, but just in general. Who's your inspiration?
In terms, obviously not boxing, but someone that someone that I have been watching a lot of is definitely Andre Ward. Not just boxing, but obviously through his faith, being a Christian man, and just how he is as a person. Obviously, he's a family man, retired now, but he done a lot for the sport, and obviously fighting style. Been watching a lot of them recently and taking little bits and bobs from them. So yeah.
Awesome, fantastic, and it's nice that you have someone in the sport that you can look up to as well. We will get into your faith a little later. I'm glad that you mentioned that. But before we do, I've got some more questions for you. So, you are actually a family man, and I believe you have 3 nephews. So in today's society, we know that there's a lot of violent crime, etc. And there have been a few organisations that have, I think one of them is called Gloves Up, I think, that focus on keeping the youngsters
Okay.
off the street and giving them something positive to focus on, to ensure that they're disciplined. So being an uncle, how important is it to you to be a role model to them and to inspire the next generation, to maybe go into sport like yourself, or to do something that puts
It's
them on the
very
straight and
important,
narrow?
they gotta, not get into any of the crime or anything that's obviously negative. We gotta steer them in the right way, steer them going to the right direction, and that's what we're doing now. And obviously we've got them into football. You know, they're doing a lot of football, so it's good. That's what they need. They need to stay active. As kids, you got so much energy. You can do so much things, and yeah, man, that's what we try to install in them. A lot of football, and just learning to push. And I know certain times they don't want to go, but sometimes you just got to be done. They just got to do it, suck it up, and go training.
Love that. And of course, you're the ultimate, I guess, role model.
Right.
So it's great that they have you as an uncle. And I see that you do
Mm-hmm.
some work as well with Millwall.
That
So
involves
what does that involve?
me going to coach over there. That can involve me doing a community training session. That involves me motivation, doing some motivation with them, motivational speaking, letting them understand and hear the journey, that everything that you do is not going to be easy. And you just gotta, if you want it bad enough, then you just gotta stick by it and keep working. So yeah, definitely a lot of that, and yeah, just seeing what we can do for the next generation, because it's not about us, it's about them following the path. When I was young, and we never had no role models in Bermondsey like that. And here's me
Right.
becoming one for them, and they're someone that they can look up to. Just trying to stay positive.
Amazing. I love that, because it demonstrates selflessness, because you're not just focused on your own journey, but you're also trying to be that role model in the community. So that's amazing. Keep it up. You also have a big sister who's a
Yeah,
chef, and she's a great
yeah.
one at that, because I actually follow her on Instagram. I've been following her for ages. And I believe that she's part of your camp as well. So did you make a conscious effort to, incorporate people that are quite close to you in your team? And, is that something that you think is important in terms of having a close-knit team that's close to home? And has that had its benefits in keeping
You
just family and
know,
close
the
friends around
team,
you?
how it all come about till now, it just all everything just fell in place, if I'm honest with you, like, and everyone sort of like known each other, down from my manager to my sister,
Oh, wow.
and obviously my brother-in-law's family with my manager. And yeah, it's just all how it's linked up. It was all in God's timing, and it was meant to happen. Now I see it. It was all meant to happen. So it's good.
Wow. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's,
It's
yeah, I believe in
great.
divine connection. So that's amazing. That's great. Okay. So aside from boxing, then, when you get some free time, what do you like to do? What are your hobbies? How do you let your hair down? I know you don't
Mine
have
is growing.
long hair like me,
You
but
see, because
how
I'm
do
not
you
because I'm in
let your hair
camp.
down?
I ain't had a trim in 2 months, and it's probably been the longest time I ain't had a trim for. But that shows
It
you
looks
how serious I'm
fine.
taking this camp. But to let my hair down, listen, I do whatever, man. You know what I mean? I might watch a movie or something. It all depends, man, what's going on. But when you're in camp, you're focused, you're zoned in. So every day I'm just watching film studies and watching boxing, and really getting to the nitty gritty side of camp. That's what it's about.
Mhm. Okay. So you're addicted to the sport. Okay. So when you're not watching boxing, you said you like to watch films. What type of films does Chris Congo like to watch? Or are you someone that watches
No,
stuff like Love
he
Island?
won't catch me watching that. I'm not that there's something wrong with it, but I'm just into it. It's not my thing to kind of
Hmm.
watch. So just whatever movies, action movies, whatever it's about, couple Netflix series here and there. That's about it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
apart from that,
Nice.
outside of that, I just like to fly out to different countries and experience. Experience is definitely a big part of my life. I'll prefer to, experience somewhere new than, just do the same old stuff that people
Hmm.
do. Do you get what
Right.
I'm saying? So
Definitely.
that's what I'm about. That's what I like.
Nice. So where's your dream trip? Where would you like to go in the
I
future,
don't know
would
yet.
you say?
I haven't thought that deep, but anywhere where I want to go, I always end up going. So there's no limits to traveling for me. You know, as long as I can catch a
Nice.
flight and go,
Well, the
I'll
world
go. Especially if there's no fights coming up.
definitely. Nice.
Yeah,
Well, I look forward to hearing about where you
no
go
doubt,
this year.
no doubt.
The
I'll
world
be
is your
going a
oyster.
few
So
places to be honest, and you might have to live that.
nice. I need to take the page out of your book then. I need to do that more actually because the England weather hasn't been
Yeah,
great, but
no.
summer is approaching, so that's good. So, earlier on you
Hmm.
mentioned your faith and you're a Christian. And, I know through previous
Yeah,
conversations that faith
yeah.
is of central importance to you. So, how does your faith, before we go into how your faith impacts you, how did you, become a Christian? What was that journey like?
Hmm.
Of course, I know you grew up in South London. Sometimes I understand that there's influences from negative I guess
Hmm.
negative influences, and there's a lot of peer pressure to do things you probably don't want to do, etc. So how did you become a Christian? How did you become someone of faith? What was that journey to
You know
Christ
what?
like?
Obviously, growing up obviously my African household, obviously mum is a prayer warrior. You know how it is, and yeah, I think we've lived all our lives. For me, I've lived all my life as a Christian, but never really read the Bible before. So it's like, hold on, what's really going on here? And I just thought, yeah, man, let me see what this is about and explore for myself and really just take myself on a spiritual journey and see where it takes me, So yeah, man, I think that's where it is. Just picking up good habits, not just boxing, because a lot of the stuff and a lot of my life has been based around that. When it comes down to boxing, that's the only thing I'm really serious about. But if I can, you know, really knuckle down and get other parts of my life in check, then I know
Yeah,
there is a deeper meaning. I just gotta go and search for it.
absolutely. That's beautiful. And is there anything that you do, in camp or leading up to a fight or even on fight day, any practices that you have or protocol that you have in place that kind
No,
of encompass your faith?
not really. Obviously, my mum says the final prayer before I leave, and that's about it, And
No,
yeah, that's all I need really. There's nothing stronger than a mother's prayer. So
exactly.
um,
Exactly. You got there first. I was
yeah,
going to say the
so
same. Nothing
that's
quite
it, man.
compares to your mother's
Apart
prayer.
from that, I'm just ready
So
to
that's a
battle
blessing.
more time.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing a bit about your faith. So
Hmm.
let's speak a little bit about boxing now. I know that's what makes you most excited. So, when did you first get into boxing, and what made you certain that boxing is the career path
Well,
for
I got
you?
into boxing when I was young. Obviously, my two brothers started before me, and I sort of kind of joined and yeah, started from there. I was 8. Then when I was 11, started
Wow.
had my first fight, lost my first 2 fights, then went on a mad streak of wins, and then just continued, become national champion, and yeah, just built it from there. When I was young, I had my first GB trial when I was about 16. I didn't get in, but I kept fighting. Then a couple of years down the line, become a part of Team GB, traveling around the world and fighting. And then after that, I just turned professional, man. I thought, yeah, this is the time. Let's just do it. So yeah, now I've been a pro 7 years and going forward with it. So yeah, that's my small explanation, small journey of
Mhm.
boxing.
Right. No, I love that because you know, the saying fall 6 times,
Mhm.
get up seven, exactly what you did. You know, there were a few closed doors, you didn't make it, but you kept on persevering. And I believe that to really get to
Mhm.
your purpose in life, you have to keep on pushing. If you just
100%.
give up at the first hurdle, you'll never get there. So you're a great example of that. Um, and you know, you mentioned your brothers, that they were involved in boxing. Do they still have any type of
Yeah,
impact on you as a boxer
my,
today? Don't
my
give you any
eldest brother, he
advice?
always comes to watch me spar, watch me do my work in the gym. So like he was in the gym today with me, you know, giving me advice, giving me tips on my next fight, stuff I should do. But yeah, my other brother, he's actually a coach. He's a coach. He trains Chevron Clark. If you know C4 Chev, very good fighter. He's coming up now in the cruiserweight division. I believe he's one of the best cruiserweights in our country.
Yeah,
And yeah, man, so they're still involved in boxing, but I'm just the one leading the way and just going all the way with it. So
yeah,
yeah, it's got to be done.
yeah. I know they say you never really leave boxing. It's like you're always involved in some way. So
Mm-hmm.
it's nice that they're still
No,
involved through you.
100%,
To always be that
100%.
connection. So that's a beautiful thing. So what would you say? You know, you've had quite a few fights now. What would you say you're most proud of? I would say, what fight are you most proud of actually, in terms of all the fights you've had? Which one would you say really
Probably
stood
my
out for
first
you?
title fight, to be honest, in Eddie Hearn's back garden. Obviously, that was the first one's always the one that kicks you off and puts you in that position. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it done for me. And
Yeah,
it was just a great moment because I was going through so much stuff at the time. And then yeah, COVID come and it was hard. I was still training regardless. I never see one thing about me. I don't give up on things. And yeah, I just kept pushing. I just kept pushing, you know. So that's the main thing. But yeah, that is the fight that
amazing. And
kind of that basically, yeah, one of my favorite fights to date.
amazing, amazing
Hmm.
of you. Very proud of that milestone. Um, And you know, several years ago, I read an article in a newspaper where you know you were speaking about, I guess, the challenges of being a boxer and sometimes not being
Hmm.
able to make that steady income. I think at the time you're working in a restaurant, you know, to make ends meet, and then of course we were hit with
Hmm.
COVID. So many boxers were not able to do their jobs. A lot of people that work remotely weren't affected, but for people like yourselves, you know, that are involved in the sport, how important do you think it is that boxers are actually given a means, you know, to support themselves financially when they're not in the ring, when they have a period of inactivity? Do you think that there's a responsibility, you know, on those that are involved in the sport to ensure that you can always receive that steady income and give you other opportunities in the sport where
I
you can still get
mean,
paid?
that's you know it is. That's a job for the managers, you know. So a lot of managers ain't really
Mm,
on paper not really doing their job, but that's part of the
right.
game. Not all managers, majority of managers are the same. You know, they just basically make the phone
Mm,
call. Oh, yeah, can we get this person on the card? This and that. Yeah, boom. All right, he's on the card. Right, and that's it.
right.
Yeah, what's the person?
Right.
That's it. So
Mm,
they're basically a manager's basically a middleman in boxing. Do you get what I'm saying? So
mhm,
a manager don't do much, but he
right.
manages that he says he manages a fight. Certain managers they don't even come to the gym to see how how how
Wow.
preparations is going.
Wow.
Do you get what I mean? So a good way, the first
Mm,
thing I would always say is a manager to, you know, sort of make the investment if they have the investment, make the investment in their fighters, and
mm,
two, just making sure that the fighters are all good, man, financially, mentally, because it's hard out here. You can't be a fighter working part time and then you're trying to balance boxing. It's not easy, you know. So it's the sport is hard
imagine.
alone. Do you get what I'm saying? But then having to go to work, it's hard, man. It's all these tickets you have to do, all these tickets you have to sell. If you're not a big ticket seller, you ain't going
Imagine.
nowhere. So it's hard in that sense. But I think
Mm,
we should start within the sport, looking into the managers, you know, making sure they're
right.
getting their money's worth, you know, and making sure that they're
Yep.
supporting the fighters.
No, I agree with that. because I believe that when you take on any role, you're supposed to go in
Hmm.
there and do your best at it. So it's not just a title, you should be supporting your fighter. So I think it's important then for boxers to choose the right manager for them and the right team. And then it's important that if you're a boxer and you're in that position, you're actually if you're a boxing manager in that position, you're actually
Hmm.
doing your job and supporting your fighter, so that they don't feel the added pressure that comes with it, because fighting is hard enough and that's what you should be focused on. So would you say that kind of did it have any impact on your mental health, during that period during COVID when there was a lot of inactivity?
Yeah,
Did that affect you mentally,
100%.
would you
But
say?
there's always ways to get around it, and I think my way of getting around it was just training. Really, I was still training during COVID. I didn't let it get me down. Do you get what I'm saying? It was just a thing where I had to do it, or I'll let it take over me. So I had to be smart and just find things to do as well. Keep myself busy while I was waiting for the fight to happen. But yeah, it
Yeah.
happened at the end of it, and yeah, I got something out of it, and yeah, man, it was all good after that.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that, boxing, although you were unable to box, you're still training and you were able to focus on other things. You didn't allow it to get you down, because I know for some people it's a very trying time. So, I like to hear stories like that, of people that actually were able to flourish
Mm-hmm.
during that time. So that's great. So yeah, so I remember your fight, two of your fights actually, which stood out
Mm-hmm.
to me. So your fight against
Boring,
Mikey
right.
McKinson,
Oh
um,
God, man.
and
I
that,
can't believe I was disappointed in myself after that. But yeah, go ahead.
Um, so yeah, so during that fight, I think that fight was probably more challenging for you because he's such an awkward
Hmm.
fighter, and he's got that southpaw stance. So I remember just standing up and shouting like, "Come on, Chris! Come on, come on, come on!" Because I
Yeah.
wanted to see more from you, and I knew that
Hmm.
you had so much more in the tank when
Yeah.
that fight finished. So I get you saying that you were frustrated. Again, in comparison to your in contrast, I would say, to your fight with Echo Essuman, where I felt that you
Hmm.
really did give it your all. I would say that I
Hmm.
had you neck and neck up until the final round, and I think in the final round she had you up against the ropes a
Yeah.
bit. But that was a very, very close fight. Um, so, how do you say you go about your upcoming fight now with Florian Marku to ensure that you get that win that I know you
You
so
gotta
want?
look at when you look at a fighter like Florian, you gotta see what he does from round one to round 10, right? When we first when the fight got proposed to us, we said yeah straight away, and we looked at the basis of we first looked at what his style is like, similar to Echo, but Echo's more relentless. We looked at his skill set. What's his skill set like? What does he do repetitively? We looked at that. We got the breakdown of it, and we was like, listen, this is something that we can deal with. This is. I wouldn't say it's an easier fight than Echo, because Echo does a lot of smart stuff in there. He's not just aggressive. When you look at him click properly, he does
Yeah.
a lot of smart stuff in there, and we feel like with Florian, he's a bit leaky. He's still quite new to the game, and when he has gone 10 rounds with a decent opponent, he hasn't looked his greatest. And that's it. Obviously, we see his last fight against, not his last fight, the fight before that, when he fought in Albania, his hometown, and we thought that guy was the clear winner, which I believe he was. But obviously, we know how it is politics over there. But yeah, man. When I'm looking at it and I'm seeing so much stuff that he's doing, the same thing he's doing in round one, he's doing in round 10, and it's like he runs out of ideas. He doesn't have anything else to do. So we thought, yeah, this is the perfect opponent to pick. And yeah, man, we know we got the beating of him. He's been running away for a long time. He even said in the interview he wasn't interested in fighting me. He didn't want to fight me, and now it got put to him. Now he has to. So yeah, man, it's just ones, isn't it? No more running. The
No
fight's
more
done
running.
now. Let's get it.
So of course, you had that
Mm.
altercation at the Buatsi Aziz presser where, you approached him, you were just speaking, and he made it physical when he gave you that big shove. Would you say that after that it became very
When I think
personal?
about it now, it's not even that deep, is it? Like really, really, it's not. But it
We'll see from
is
the
what it
day.
is, isn't it? Do you get what I'm saying? But on the day, yeah, I was pretty annoyed. I was like, bro, what's wrong with you, bro? That shows he's got short temperament in it. You know what I mean? That shows that in the ring, I'm gonna get to him. And a lot of people said his temperament is very short. So you got a big opportunity here to, not wind him up, but make him. If he gets frustrated, that's it. You've won. And it's only gonna. People say it's only gonna take a couple rounds for him to get frustrated. So I don't know. And this is people that's been in the gym with him for years. And I don't mean just 1 year. I'm talking about 2, 3 years. So yeah, let's see how the fight goes. But I know my head's screwed on for the fight. I'm ready. Can't 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 be. I ain't got a short temperament. Very smart. I know what I'm doing in there, and yeah, man, got all the answers.
Okay, so the big question we all want to know, so will you be
Well, the
going for the KO
KO's
on the
gonna
night?
come naturally. I just gotta do my own thing in there. Do you get what I mean? So I believe it's gonna come naturally. I just gotta be smart about it and do what I usually do, and it will come. He's obviously just gonna try and rush. You know how he is, aggressive. But even when he's aggressive, when you look at him properly, his ring positioning, ring generalship, it's non-existent. And as a fighter, if you're doing 10 rounds, you need that. You need to be switched on here. And if you ain't switched on there, you got no chance.
Love that. Well, we will see what he does on March 31st, how he answers
For sure.
to you, because I know he'll have a lot to answer for. So, speaking long-term plans then, as a fighter in this welterweight division, does Chris Kongo have big plans to become a
Of course,
world
that's what I'm in the
champion
game
one
for.
day?
There's no doubt about it, no doubt in my mind.
Good.
It's coming, and I just gotta keep working, man. Stay focused, how I have been these last couple years as a pro. Just gotta keep that up. I know that the time is coming.
That's what I wanted to hear. I believe that, if you're in something, give it your all and try to get to
No,
the top. So you're on the journey and yeah, keep working as I know you will. Well, thank you. Those were my questions that I had for you. And it's been a pleasure, but there are some more questions. I know there's a few here, but there were a couple that the 6181 is actually sent in advance. So I know today the full card actually came
is
out
that
for
the full card?
versus
I just see it
Fraser
now.
Clark, which is actually the
Okay.
full card came out. Yeah. Yeah, the full card came out, and I think it's a stacked card from start to finish. I'm really, really excited. But there was someone that actually asked, is there anyone particular that you would have
I
wanted
would have
on the
wanted
card?
Isaac Chamberlain on the card, if I'm honest. Yeah, yeah.
We should have done this interview
I
before,
should have wanted
before they
Isaac
made the
on there,
card.
man.
So we could have got Isaac
See what he's
Chamberlain.
about. Obviously Isaac's my guy. I want to see him
Yeah,
active. He boxed in December, and yeah, recently.
yeah,
So
that
I
was a
just
good
want to
fight.
see him keep the momentum up.
Love that. Love that. Friends supporting friends. Like to see it. Okay, so someone also asked,
When,
if you win,
when,
who would you
when?
like to call out to fight?
Change that. I
When
don't know
you
that
win.
if that
Whoever
word
said that,
when.
this is your response.
Yeah,
When he wins. When. Who would you like to call out to
I
fight
don't
next?
know. I ain't thought that far down the line. I've just been my main focus is Marku. That's it. You know. So there's no one else that I'm focused on at the moment.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Now let's go to a couple of questions here. So, someone said, would you support your kids, or future kids, if they told you that
I'm
they
gonna
wanted
have
to be a
to.
boxer?
You know what I mean? I wouldn't want them to, but if they want to, then by all means go ahead. But I'll tell them, listen, it's not an easy road. It's not an easy road, and whatever they want to do, just gotta support them, man, regardless.
Love that. Oh, yeah, I can understand that because for me, I was asked a similar question the other day, and I thought I love to watch it, but it's so it's so different when, you know, it's your own, and I can imagine that your mum and your
Yeah,
dad feel the same, but
my
they still there to
mum's not
support
the
you as parents
biggest
do.
fan. It is what it is, isn't it? You know?
Can imagine. We'll ask one more. What's the biggest struggle that boxers in the UK boxing scene face?
Well, everyone's got different struggles, you know, could be personal. But
True.
in terms of, I think now, in terms of fighting, it's got to just be activity, man. Boxers got to be active, so we've got to be active, we've got to be fighting, we've got to be making money. And yeah, it's all based down to all these tickets that we've got to sell. And if you don't sell tickets, like I said, it's a pain in the ass. So yeah, I think it's just activity, man.
I can
Mhm.
And I completely get that. It's the responsibility and the pressure of having to, like we said, do all the other stuff with it and not just be able to just
Yeah.
focus on the boxing. Okay, well, thank you guys for your questions. And you know, it's just been a pleasure being able to speak to Chris and find out a little bit more about him. I always say to him that you're very calm in terms of personality, which is, it's lovely. It's very rare to see that. But you know, you have a fire for boxing. And you know, I am so looking forward to your fight on March 31st. If you don't know, guys, Chris Kongo will be fighting against Florian Marku on March 31st at the O2 Arena. Chris will put the link in his bio for you to go directly to get tickets. So please go via Chris's page, click on the link and get your tickets. Also, please do give a follow to 6181 Boxing for more conversations and you know, more boxing content, as you guys know that I love talking boxing with you all. But yeah, I just want to wish you the very best, Chris, and I want to leave you with a scripture, which is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You're most welcome. Well, thank you so much, Chris. We all look forward to seeing you on March 31st. Wishing you the very best. Take care. Bye.